Anthony Joshua made me insert a clause into the contract that said the fight must happen in the UK.
Good.
So at the moment, it can't happen anywhere else. Now, we're under a lot of pressure. Turkey al-Sheikh, Netflix, sounds like Tyson Fury. It sounds like everybody's agreed they want to do this fight at Madison Square Garden. We don't, right? I mean, I can't, we want to make it so financially unviable for them to change the contract that they've got no choice but to do it in the UK. I honestly don't know how it's going to play out. All I can tell you is I can assure you that myself and Anthony are saying it just doesn't make sense. Like we wouldn't have signed this contract under its terms if this said the fight was in America.
Eddie Hearn drops the bombshell. Anthony Joshua refuses to sign unless the fight stays on British soil, no exceptions. Any change of venue kills the deal both sides shook hands on. For AJ, there's no compromise fans have waited years for.
And we are doing everything we can to maintain our contractual position. So, I met with Sella, Dr. Rakan, and listen, we've got a good relationship. No one's trying to pull any strings. They're just saying Netflix would prefer to fight in America. They want the fight in America. And I said, but we wouldn't have signed the fight if it was in America. The whole point of this fight was to give this fight to the British fight fans. And AJ wants this fight to be in the UK. So why should we change? Well, they feel like it's a bigger fight. It could do a bigger audience. America's the showbiz capital of the world. I said, but it's not the boxing capital of the world. And this is a British fight. And we're going to get it in the neck for doing the fight in America. And it's like, it's disappointing. I'll be honest with you, it's disappointing. Listen, and I know it's going to be a massive fight in New York, but...
Doubling down on that same demand, Eddie points out they had no place in negotiations and refuses to hand boxing's biggest event to a rival promotion. For Matchroom, protecting the event becomes non-negotiable.
Yeah. No, listen, we had a nice chat. I was pretty honest. I said, I'll tell you what, it's a bit like Turkey al-Sheikh doing the Royal Rumble with the WWE in Saudi Arabia and him phoning you up and going, by the way, Eddie Hearn's going to promote it. It's a bit like Turkey al-Sheikh making a massive Conor McGregor fight in Saudi Arabia and phoning Dana White and going, all right, Dana, just so that you know, Eddie's going to promote this one. What do you think you'd say, guys?
What do they offer?
What do you mean?
As in the reason why they want...
because together we can make it really big, and it is big.
I mean, yeah, but
the reality is, it's all a game. They're trying to do something with Zuffa. They're trying to gain some credibility. They're trying to be part of big fights. And this is a leg up for them to try and be involved in a fight they had nothing to do with.
Backing that same stance from a fan's perspective, Paulie Malignaggi believes British supporters deserve to witness the fight at home rather than overseas. He argues moving the event away from the UK ignores the fans who built both champions.
So I'll believe it when I see it. I think the fight happens. I don't know if the fight happens in New York or somewhere else. I know the rumor is in New York, but I have a very difficult time believing this fight happens in New York because of those reasons. It just makes no business sense.
And I think from the British fans' point of view, they've supported these guys, built them up. They've both become world champions and icons outside of boxing. Really, they've become bigger personalities than even boxing to the boxing fan. So they want that last fight here. They want it at Wembley Stadium. Forget that it's in November. I think the fans maybe are owed that one, and it'll be a shame that it happens.
Yeah, it's a fight of a generation that the fights in England have been waiting to see for so long, and then you don't put it in the UK. You put it in the MSG. I don't know. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
But again, for many reasons, it makes no sense to me.
Dismissing the whole venue debate entirely, Peter Fury insists the venue meant nothing because the only thing that mattered was settling the rivalry inside the ring. He believes the fight simply had to happen regardless of location.
Yeah, look, it's may the best man win, and wherever it is, it's a ring. Doesn't really matter, so they just need to get it on. And this is boxing. For me, it's a sport. May the best man win.
Shifting to the bigger picture, Frank Warren says the delay hasn't hurt the fight's significance and may even improve it. He believes the extra preparation benefits fighters returning from long layoffs, making boxing's biggest unfinished matchup even more compelling.
Well, you can't do nothing about it being later because that's the age they're at. But the fact is it will be competitive, and the fact is they both want it. And, At last it is happening. So we will see. And sometimes with these type of fights, you know, when guys, you think maybe they could have done it a few years before, the fact is that it could even turn into a better fight. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is, the reason, you know, if it does go there, it won't be for the lack of Seller trying to get the fight on at Wembley. They were trying to get it on, obviously, for the early hours of the morning, and from what I understand, that wasn't successful. I'm not sure yet. That's not been confirmed.
Turning the conversation toward who actually wins this fight, Paulie Malignaggi credits Fury with still holding the edge because his movement, unpredictability, and ring craft remain difficult to solve. He argues Joshua would struggle to consistently pin down such an elusive opponent.
Yeah, there's just the shiftiness of Fury may be a problem. You know, even Jake Paul was shifty, but he can't fight and was giving Joshua trouble in terms of being tracked down. Fury's shifty and knows how to fight, so I think it multiplies the problem a little bit.
Raising doubts about how Joshua's last win actually happened, Frank Warren acknowledges AJ's resilience, but believes Tyson Fury would never have allowed that recovery. In his view, Fury's finishing instincts would have produced a completely different outcome.
You know, he's on the floor twice, and I genuinely was quite shocked. But you know, hats off to AJ for getting out of the predicament that he was in. And Pringer, I mean, you know, he just didn't follow. You know, for me, didn't follow up. When I look at that fight, I look at one that and think, if that had been Tyson in there, and you know Tyson's a good finisher.
Firing back at critics questioning that same win, after Simon Jordan questions Anthony Joshua's comeback victory, Warren firmly dismisses the accusations and argues the fight unfolded exactly as heavyweight boxing often does. He believes Joshua simply recovered after being hurt and proves why his punching power remained dangerous.
No, not at all. No. Don't agree with that at all. You know, I don't think that would happen. Listen, what a way. I mean, let's have it right. If someone thought the fight was hooking and they were going to throw it, you don't want to get knocked over twice.
And have to climb up off the deck, yeah.
And I climb off the floor, let's have it right. At one stage, he was struggling a bit. So no, and let's all be honest. Going into the fight, everybody thought AJ was like 100-1 on. So he got caught, and he got over it, and that's it. So no, I don't think there's anything untoward in it.
Crediting the team behind Joshua's transformation, Eddie believes Alexander Usyk's team had transformed Joshua through relentless scientific preparation, unlike anything he'd ever witnessed. The workload convinces him Joshua had left nothing to chance, and Hearn adds that the level of detail in this camp stands apart from anything he's seen in Joshua's previous training cycle.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, it's been a long camp. Like, he's been literally working since, I don't know, February. And the camp has probably been 14, 16 weeks, which is a really long camp, but it had to be because he's gone from like training every day to like not training properly for 2 months or 3 months, and then, you know, then he had to do this other stuff. Plus, you throw in the crazy Ukrainians of Team Alexander Usyk, who I've never seen anything like. Like, it's not human what they're putting him through. But the results are, like you said, career best shape, and hopefully career best performance as well, and performances.
Pointing to a mental shift behind that same transformation, Eddie believes Joshua finally realizes that focusing solely on boxing would unlock his best performances again. Everything else becomes secondary, and Hearn points out that outside distractions had quietly chipped away at Joshua's focus in ways few fans fully appreciated until now.
He's a perfectionist across everything, so he's got his boxing, which is always the most important thing. He's got his management company, he's got his property portfolio, he's got his commercial deals, and he's a perfectionist, so he wants everything to be, and when something breaks down in one of those, he sort of does his nutting, and he's like, that, and it's like, and then that saps the energy out of you on other areas. And I think after the Dubois fight, it was like, do you know what? It's just boxing. Yeah. I need to just be boxing, and that's what it's been. You know, and I've never seen him put so much focus just on boxing, and that's why I just hope that he gets what the hard work deserves. On Saturday, and in a Fury fight, but just to go out there, look good, look dominant for everyone to go, wow, like, you know, because listen, sport, anything can happen, but he deserves his success because of how hard he works.
Offering the clearest path to victory for the underdog, Max Kellerman believes Anthony Joshua's only realistic path was relentless pressure that could expose the same vulnerabilities seen in previous performances. For Joshua, this isn't just surviving the favorite, it's proving he could overturn everyone's expectations.
So I want to talk about what at least most of us might not expect at first. The question is, if the headlines are the morning after the fight that Anthony Joshua actually won, how did it happen? Well, look, I don't think Tyson Fury will be underprepared as he was against Francis Ngannou. But what the Ngannou fight did show is that at least an underprepared Tyson Fury can be bothered by a big, strong, determined heavyweight. Now, that same Francis Ngannou fought Anthony Joshua and was almost decapitated in that fight.
Backing that same underdog case with real coaching credibility, Malik Scott, who had trained elite heavyweight fighters and understood championship-level adjustments, believes Joshua's timing, durability, and recent performances made him fully capable of winning, as Fury enters the matchup as the betting favorite, adding that betting lines rarely account for the specific adjustments a smart corner can make mid-fight.
Absolutely, I'm picking AJ because I believe AJ has good timing to offset Fury's speed. I believe AJ chin is a lot better than people give him credit for. And like you just said, Max, if we go off of both, how they both looked against Usyk, I believe the AJ that fought Usyk and the Tyson Fury that fought Usyk, I believe that makes for an incredible fight with both of them. Both of them had great fight with Usyk, especially AJ last fight with Usyk. It's not like he got ran over. That was a very competitive fight. Fury and Usyk was a very competitive fight. I believe AJ against Tyson Fury is an even more competitive fight at the stage that they're in their careers now.
Offering a split verdict that favors neither man completely, Francis Ngannou credits Fury with holding the advantage over the distance, while Joshua's best opportunity comes from an early knockout. Once the fight settles into the later rounds, he expects the momentum to swing decisively toward Fury.
Well, again, at this level, I think it's very close. Everybody can win. And then it depends on how the fight goes. I think if it's gonna be like go to decision, I give the decision. I will pick Fury if this fight go to decision. And then if it's like a knockout, I think Joshua has a chance early in the round. But as far as the fight goes, it's gonna be way off on the Fury favor.
Making the boldest case yet for Joshua, Barry McGuigan insists Anthony Joshua had always possessed the perfect style to beat Tyson Fury. He believes Joshua's physical tools and psychological advantage would ultimately overcome Fury's movement, adding that this exact stylistic matchup has favored Joshua on paper for years, regardless of how either man's recent form has looked.
You know, I think he'll beat Tyson Fury. But and so therefore that's a good fight. I believe he would always have beaten Tyson Fury, and I just think he's got the right style to beat Fury. And I think he has the old wand over him. I think many years ago in the high performance, he apparently dropped him, and so I do think he's got a psychological edge over him, and I think the combination of styles, he beats him every time.
Drawing on years of watching both men up close, former Olympian Fraser Clark admits that recent performances had pushed Tyson Fury slightly ahead, despite previously favoring Joshua. He warns that one more Joshua performance could completely change that opinion, pointing out how quickly public perception shifts in a division defined by momentum and confidence.
I always have thought that, and I'm definitely don't want to go on to sit on the fence, but not seeing him box for so long and seeing at the minute after seeing Fury box Makhmudov, I thought that was a decent performance for saying he'd been out of the ring for so long. So at the minute, I've probably got to say, judging off what I seen last with Tyson, you'd have to make him favourite. After Saturday,
bringing decades of technical study to the debate, former European champion Spencer Oliver credits Joshua's explosiveness with giving him a legitimate path to victory, but admits nobody truly knew how much the recent setbacks had changed him. That uncertainty becomes the biggest variable entering the fight.
That's just the way I feel about it.
I think they both have their pluses and their minuses on how the fight could be won, how the fight could be lost, who has the right game plan. That's pretty much where we're at with these guys, because Fury's a tricky guy. Once he gets into a rhythm, he's very tricky to beat. Anthony Joshua's been known a little bit one-dimensional at times. Maybe he would struggle to get I'm with you, Barry. I think that, you know, styles make fights, and Anthony has that explosiveness to win the fight. But also, this is all just an opinion, because we don't know where Anthony Joshua's at right now. We won't know until after the 25th.
Well,
but
that's the big secret, isn't it?
I think that a fight of this magnitude, I think, is bigger than sort of boxing, goes outside of boxing, because people, non-boxing fans, know these guys, and that's why we're talking about.
Turning the conversation toward the psychological side of the fight, Richard believes Fury consistently elevated his performances under pressure, making the outcome impossible to predict. He points out that Fury has repeatedly found another gear in his biggest fights, often looking sharper the tougher the moment gets. Championship experience could outweigh recent form.
I call it a 50-50. I'm sitting on the fence. I actually don't know. We've seen this Joshua get put down and get up and win in beautiful knockout style. You know, world-class knockout power he showed. And then you have a very tricky guy in Fury. We can't even judge him on that whack fight because he knew exactly what that was going to be. I'm going to just dance around. I'm probably going to look trash on purpose. We don't know. He's got the ability to do that. But when it's a big fight, when there's a lot on the line, I think this guy turns up. This guy stays in the gym and he really turns up. You've seen it.
Building on that same pressure cooker atmosphere, Paul Smith believes both men understood that one defeat would overshadow every previous achievement. That pressure guarantees maximum preparation, and Smith adds that fighters carrying this much legacy on the line rarely leave anything to chance heading into camp.
Fury did exactly what you just said there. After Ngannou, I thought Fury was done. He looked awful, and then he bounced back against Usyk and actually looked good.
Looked good.
And he looked like not unlike the fella that was in with Ngannou. So again, like you just said, I agree with Total. I think he raises his level to the opponent. He'll raise his level to the occasion, more importantly. And this occasion is the biggest one ever. And that fear factor of whoever loses this fight is going to be defined on that fight, no matter what they've done in the past.
No matter what.
They're going to, but he didn't beat him. So that fear factor will be driving both of them.
Delivering one of the strongest predictions in Fury's favor, Carl Froch believed Tyson Fury's instincts, ring IQ, and lifelong boxing experience would overwhelm Anthony Joshua. He argued Fury's ability to read opponents, make adjustments, and control the pace would eventually take over, making his technical superiority impossible to overcome once the fight settled into rhythm.
It's still a mega fight, still a big fight, because it's even arguably more now, an even more interesting fight, because Fury looked bad, but don't forget, Fury's been fighting since he was 5 years old. It's like subconscious reactions and reflexes and punching. He just knows how to do it when his eyes are shut. He's grown up with it. Anthony Joshua was a manufactured fighter. Okay, he's won Olympic gold medalist and is two-time heavyweight champ. But in terms of natural ability, natural fighting, Tyson Fury.
Pushing that same warning even further, Froch insists the dangerous truth could no longer be ignored. One clean punch would always change the fight because Joshua could no longer absorb damage, adding that durability, once lost at the elite level, rarely returns the way fans hope it will. He points out that Joshua's recent fights have already shown warning signs of a fading chin.
Tony Bellew, again, I'll go back to him because he's saying he's the most ferocious fighter when he lets his hands go, when he puts his shots together. And yeah, AJ can punch hard, and he is fast, and he is dangerous, but he ain't got it anymore. It's not in the tank anymore. When you can't take a punch, you've only got to get clipped on your way in, as we saw against Prenga, and it's fight over. So I just want a bit of honesty. Let's just say this fight with Tyson Fury is a great fight because it's an even more evenly matched fight. Fury looked terrible. Still got to talk about him in a sec. AJ's finished. He's got no punch resistance. I'm saying he's finished because he has got no punch resistance.
And against a fighter with Fury swinging hard back in Joshua's favor, Adam Catterall believed Anthony Joshua would ultimately defeat Tyson Fury so convincingly that it would bring Fury's career to an end. He argued Joshua's power, discipline, and ability to capitalize on openings would prove too much, leaving Fury with no clear path back to the top after such a defining loss.
I think
Joshua will be. I think he puts Fury to bed forever.
Do you?
I do, yeah.
Even off what you've watched at the weekend?
No, I watched the Fury stuff. I hadn't seen it. I watched, obviously, the Anthony Joshua one live. I hadn't seen the Fury. I watched it. I think he puts him to bed.
Zooming out to what this fight actually meant for both legacies, Spencer Oliver argued this single contest would ultimately define how history remembered both careers. With two elite fighters chasing greatness and boxing's biggest prize on the line, He believed every previous title and achievement became secondary to the outcome of this rivalry. Oliver added that no amount of past success would matter if the wrong man walked away from this fight, because this was the result fans would remember most.
It's just what's happened to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why this is an interesting fight. Honestly, I think I see it as a real 50-50 going in, but off the back of their performances that were both well below par, and they both seem to be well past their best on those performances, I don't think we get that again. And I think that both guys with, you know, with what's on the line and their egos, and this is a fight that you're remembered for, by the way, guys. Forget that they're both two-time world champions, and you look at their careers and their resumes, and you go, you know what? This is the fight that they will be remembered for. Their career, it is a career-defining fight. And with that on the line, I think that it's a shootout. It really is. It's an interesting one.
Closing out the breakdown with a technical case built on activity, Adam Azim credits Fury's freshness, activity, and superior boxing skills with likely earning him victory on points. Joshua's power always made him dangerous, but Azim believes Fury possessed more ways to win, pointing out that a fighter with multiple paths to victory carries a real advantage over one who depends almost entirely on a single knockout punch.
It's a bit of a tricky subject for me, because if you were to ask me that question 2 or 3 years ago, AJ just fought Ngannou. He's coming off wins from Helenius and Wallen. I probably would have swayed a bit towards AJ, but now I think Fury's just a bit fresher. Now, don't get me wrong, they are both at the end. He's just a bit fresher. He's a bit more active. So I would lean towards Fury. But like, then again, Fury's a big fella, so he can land a big shot whenever. And in the fight, he's shown that he can do that in the Wilder fights.
One clause nearly killed the deal, and now the biggest heavyweight fight in years is finally official. Does Joshua's power and home soil demand finally deliver the statement he's chasing, or does Fury's experience and unpredictability settle boxing's biggest rivalry once and for all? Drop your prediction in the comments, and stay tuned until next time.